also completing the front row. Mark Gillies in the ERA A-Type, the light green car, car number 3. Green flag at the back, signal given to the drivers. And the flag falls at Goodwood. We go racing on the Saturday. One car left on the line there. Hands up to the rest of the drivers. The majority of the field, all but one, made it off the line as we go racing into Madrid Corner.
Well, that was neat and tidy. I think that might have been David Morris who didn't get going initially, but anyhow, going quite nicely through the pack. But the BRM got into the lead, his nose is in front, but now Ben Fiddler, alongside it's the silver car making the moves. The ERA pushing on very, very hard indeed. And David Morris is always right in the mix. That's David chasing down. It looks like he might get his nose in front by Fordwater, but by the time they got the power from that mighty V16 in the BRM had really come to play. Now diving into St Mary's, this wonderful flow of cars. Mark Gillies in the background getting a little bit taily in the first part of St Mary's.
Yeah, great start there, and up for the lead then for the BMW, for the BRM I should say, in the lead there, and then a good launch off the line for David Morris to get himself up to second place. Mark Gillies hanging on in third, not the getaway that our pole sitter wanted in the ERA D-Type.
Yeah, quite a few cars you saw made really good starts, and then the next second or third gear change just didn't quite work. The Alta was going very well to start with off the line for Ian Baxter. He's fallen back a position or two, but the first three starting to make their break, and David Morris has plenty of intent, but the BRM again at the end of a straight, that's where the power really just seems to produce. But that's also not to take away from Rob Hall being able to brake as late as he possibly dares. He knows how to drive that car very well indeed, albeit a car that's not been around too long. This is a continuation of the BRM V16, and for now it's leading the race, but he said before the race, I'm on tenterhooks.
I'm not surprised. Extraordinary sounds of the V16 coming past our commentary position to start lap 2 of the race. The BRM is ahead. A great gain of 2 places for David Morris in the ERA B-Type. And then you've got giving chase there, car number 3 trying to turn it into second place. Good launch out of Madrid Corner, trying to take the move to the inside. In the other ERA, the light green one now, trying to look for the move.
Watch and enjoy. You can see precisely what these two drivers are doing. But that extra momentum out of the second part of Madrid propels Mark Gillies up past David Morris into second place. But you know what, that was drivers who know each other very well. They can relax next to each other, trust each other. And right now Mark Gillies, we saw him getting very skitterish in St Mary's on the first lap, is now really getting the flow that's so important. In his 11th corner, looking in those tiny side mirrors there, our race leader in the BRM, Rob Hall, he's looking one side, but around the outside, the other side, taking the sort of wide line there is Mark Gillies. And look at the progress through the kink now. It's got to last the whole way, coming up the kink. So wait for it, front, but wait for the power of the BRM to really come through.
Gillies takes the lead, and then we've got the end of the straight, and then the BRM will fight back, and the BRM goes back ahead. Super stuff. Great contrast between the two cars. BRM going past ERA.
Wow. We said this was going to be a race that's really, really dynamic. If this can carry on for the next, let's say 17 minutes, we've got 16 and a half minutes remaining on the clock, that would be absolutely fantastic. But do not discount David Morris in the background. But that sound of the BRM, absolutely the best noise of the entire weekend. And for BRM fans, the longer it goes, could it take a win? That was always the question they asked in period. It was very, very fragile at times. Good to see the Alta making progress there in the background of the shot. The green car coming through very nicely. Michael Gans in the mix there as well. Still seeing what's going to happen to Ben Fiddler. He started on position. He's the back car in that position, in that group, as Gillies goes in front again, a carbon copy.
So taking the lead at this point as we make our way through the right-hander. The BRM will know that it's got superior power, but through the twisty bits, it is terrific to see how Gillies has been driving all weekend long. And as he rises on the exit of St Mary's, he's got the lead. And all of the power from the BRM in your picture at the moment, driven by Rob Hall. It's going to have to be deployed in a few moments' time.
You can really see how the first two cars, the ERA and the BRM, have to be driven with different styles. And Mark Gillies, if you're new to historic racing, there's nothing wrong with his car. That's the way to get it going super fast, because he's keeping it really light on its tyres and just constantly adjusting. We saw this one starting from the pit lane, and unfortunately Julien Majou is not going a great deal further. 308C smoking away. And Julian's driven that car for years, so he's wise and aware of when things are going wrong. But nothing at the moment is going wrong for Mark Gillies. So car owner Richard Skipworth will be delighted. We're delighted because it's a classic scrap. We just need the BRM to come a little bit further forward. A couple of years ago when we saw it on track, it did 9,000 revs. It's now 11,000 revs, and he's going to have to use all of them to catch Gillies.
Looking further back, and we've got Michael Gans, a car that is ahead of our pole sitter, who didn't get the launch off the line that he was looking to re-establish himself, looking to find himself back into a rhythm.
Indeed, so he's fighting with Michael Gans. That's the battle for 5th place, up into 4th place after a poor start. Initial great start from Ian Baxter in the outer. He's up to 4th place. Will be running sort of on his own, but those first 3, it was close. It's now starting to open up, and what we're seeing is the silver ERA of David Morris falling back towards the outer. Then come 5th and 6th. That battle between Gans and Fiddler. Nick Topless not too far back behind them, but it might be a short race, 20 minutes, but these cars can be temperamental, particularly in temperature. We have temperature here today.
Yeah, we certainly do. If you've just wandered in, big moment there for Fiddler, who gathers it all together and trying to turn 6th place into 5th, having lost a couple of positions on the start line, and off goes car number 1, the Alfa Romeo from 1938.
Yeah, well, that Julien Majoub showing his maturity and knowledge as well. We saw him coming smoking slowly, but he found a place that's safe to park the car. These cars are worth so much money. And the way you have to drive these cars is so different. It's steering on the throttle as much as the steering wheel, and that's why they're constantly adjusting the steering wheel. Just a little twitch here, a little twitch there. One of the most famous cars in the field, Paddy's Dowling is driving it. We're looking at it now, car number 5. It's Remus. It's the ex-Prince Beera car that was driven all around Europe the days before the World Championship, and bought for him by his cousin Prince Chula. And it's a car that took victory in the Goodwood Trophy in the first revival with Ludovic Lindsay driving that, and it's been, Valentine Lindsay driving it. Now let's see who ran wide and how. Well, completely running out of road. It's race leader just going through, and that's Madgwick. It's a corner that's super, super tricky. Now, that's not the sort of place you expect to see a driver of Rob Hall's calibre going off. One does wonder.
We'd got the gap down to half a second.
Well,
he'd had a really good lap trying to get the gap down for the lead of the race, but just deep there, and now, as you can see, a luxury advantage for Gillies out front.
Well, now the fight back starts the BRM, but that's a really unusual moment. But I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Alex. He just did his fastest lap of the race. Maybe it was just a tad ambitious going into the first part of Madrid, but he's gathered it all up. But now there is our race leader, Mark Gillies, pulling very far clear. He was half a second clear at the start of that. Now he's got to look in his mirrors to find the BRM, and it's now managed to get very quickly back into second place. Puff of smoke there as he changed up, constantly just chasing after our race leader. But let's see if Rob Hall could compose himself. You know what? He's flicked a switch. He's gone as a maximum attack there. You can see the tail coming out when they went into Woodcote. I was just talking before about how a different driving style, this sort of heavier car than the ERA. Oh, now suddenly race leader Mark Gillies has a problem. Hey, who's next?
And it's going to be a change for the lead across the line. You have to drive every single metre of every single lap around here and back into the lead. One mistake at turn 1 before for Hall, a mistake at the end of the lap for Gillies, and a change of lead.
Okay, I'm just starting to wonder if someone's dropped a bit of oil coming out of the chicane. That's not a very Mark Gillies-like mistake, but anyhow, he managed to gather it up without bouncing it across the grass into the wall. So it's ERA versus BRM, with the BRM back in front when Rob Hall least expected it. He probably thought you can't give Mark Gillies a 3-second lead, which effectively is what he did, but he fought back quickly up to second place. Got a surprise gift going down the start-finish straight. The outer's closing in. That's good to see. Car 61, Ian Baxter as well in 4th place. So let's take a look at what happened on this lap. Oh, this is the exit of the chicane. Quite simply, too much traffic exactly where Mark Gillies wanted to put that ERA. We had the yellow and red warning flag, slippery surface.
And he's back ahead. Let's check in on this camera angle. It is a great tussle, and Gillies has fought his way back through once again.
Right, you can often say with cars of this vintage, pre-war cars and cars immediately after the Second World War, they're leaking fluid, but it does appear to be now. Let's take a look where it went wrong. Oh, gosh, good grief, that's St Mary's. And you can see the crops. Well, he saw the crops.
little bit of lawn mowing going on with a beautiful car. The lead changing over and over and over again, and that's how Gillies got on by.
Chop and change, and all along David Morris in third place. I said he's playing a waiting game, waiting and watching, and he's watching a phenomenal man. Now take a look at this. This was when Mark Gillies was leading. The BRM accelerating past down towards the first corner. David Morris is in there in the silver ERA, and the outer right with him as well. But this is the moment Rob Hall takes it to the edge, constantly adjusting the steering wheel. Mark Gillies, they both made mistakes. You almost never get to say that with these drivers.
So experienced behind the wheel, but this is a fantastic start to the day's racing out here. So Hall finds himself out front, picking his way through the traffic, and we've got a 4-car battle out front. The amount of it's not easy to manoeuvre these cars around this famous old circuit, but we've seen plenty of hair-raising moments to start things today. But it's advantage BRM as we make our way out of St Mary's.
Now the big point after about 2 laps, the first 3 had got clear, the gaps were increasing, but these cars, they have to be nursed to an extent. They're all running on, they're quite temperamental on the methanol, and these drivers have experience of how to nurse them around, but I didn't expect the field to close up like this. You never want to see drivers having little errors, but it shows they're pushing right to the edge of where the cars can possibly go. BRM against ERA, the period. People, when this circle opened in 1948, would have welcomed this battle. Traffic could be an issue for this quartet as they scorch clear. I don't quite sense that David Morris in the second of the ERAs, the silver cars, quite got the pace. He hasn't made an error though. That's why he's still in the mix.
Yeah, he's taking a very measured approach. Gillies, then Hall, then Morris, then Baxter, the drivers in your picture, and you can see that Gillies is far more circumspect coming into the chicane, through Woodcode and into the chicane. The BRM makes time. Obviously on the straights, the BRM has that advantage as well. And now, all over the back, trying to make the progression. The outer, beautiful outer, driven by Ian Baxter, the 61 IS version from 1937 in the mix now, battling for third place, maybe looking for a move. There's no move at the moment. Gillies holds the lead. Hall is trying to put the pressure on, and you could throw a blanket over them as they head into the turn.
But all along, the driver's looking up ahead, and now David Morris trying to take a tilt up the inside, has to back off as they go into St Mary's. But the BRM, I sense, is slightly falling back, and I think the fastest of that trio, oh dear, the MG Bellevue Special has gone around, but the good news is it's back in the race with that incredible bit of early aerodynamic styling, with that long pointed tail, goes down to like a bee sting at the back. But now, have we had any further change? No, we haven't. Second, third and fourth, still BRM, ERA, outer. But I think if the outer can get through, and now David Morris is going through, and I fear there's been a problem there for Rob Hall. He's nursing something of that BRM. That's a statement that could have been said in period as well.
Just the BRM champ delivered there, Bruce. Great battle now. So up goes Morris to second place. The outer of Baxter is now on the podium as it stands. Clearly an issue for the BRM. You know that if it's losing positions on the straight, all is not well. And real disappointment for Hall, who has provided us with some super entertainment all the way through the race as the lapped car points the direction for these two, who have been separated by hardly any space at all, and it remains the case heading into Madgwick Corner.
Yeah, just taking a look at their pace, there's clearly oil down, probably from the very car, the BRM, that's pulled into the pits, because their best laps are about 6 seconds faster than the lap times they're doing now. And of course, we've seen the drivers, these cars do feel as though they're on tiptoes. Oh, now at the moment it's ERA 1 and 2, but the outer, number 61 of Ian Baxter, certainly fancies splitting them up, and now he's diving down the inside. Looks though move has been made. Good move.
Great move, great race so far for the outer of Ian Baxter, who takes second position, and immediately Morris tries to fight back there in the number 9 car as we climb the hill.
Now what I noticed going through St Mary's, the very unusual line, a very tight line on the exit there from Ian Baxter. He's trying to work out where the oil is, or more to the point, where the oil is not. That's why he adapted his line there, or maybe he just slid wide on the oil as it happens. But again, you can see them constantly chasing. Look, sideways. Hey, historic racing, it's the real McCoy.
It really is. And as they make their way back to home, we've had 8 laps on the board, 5 to go. It's Gillies out front, and then Baxter now in second.
You know, in so many ways, when you get the joy of racing at Goodwood, of course you want to finish in the top three. You want to go and meet Ed Foster for an interview afterwards, but it's about enjoying these cars that is on a circuit that is just brilliant for historic racing. You know, on a sunny Saturday morning when you can probably have a long cooling drink after this race, what a great place to go racing. You're quite new, Alex, to historic racing, but it's proper racing. A certain driver, well, let's name it, Sterling Moss, was told when he did invent a long time ago historic racing in the States, you only overtake on the straightaways. And he went, well, that's not racing.
That's a great quote.
Now, a fabulous car to see in the background with the white flashes around it's known is the Alfetta, the 158, the car that dominated the first year of the World Championship. And that's just going past Marcus Nisius in the silver Maserati 6CM. So there's quite a lot of performance differences between these cars, but the respect and the signalling, you know, they don't want to damage their cars, they want to keep things safe. And again, that is something that's really drummed into all these drivers, because a lot of this machinery really priceless. A D.I.Y in that mix as well, running in that typical French racing blue when cars did run by and large in their national colours.
We've got the Alfa Romeo leading the Maserati, leading the D.I.Y. This is further back. This is in the battle for 8th place. You see them continuing on there. Grenfell behind the wheel of the Alfetta.
Well, he's done well. He started 14th, and I know we've had a couple of cars having retirements, but he's managed to get up to 8th place, so good progress for him. Mark Gillies in the race leading number 3, the bright green, or pale green, very early ERA, 1964, one of the A-type cars. Ex-Raymond May's car, and Mark has huge amount of experience racing this car, and you can see he's just being a little bit cautious through the traffic, but he's sitting on a lead last time around, best part of 3 seconds, or 2.7 seconds. This time I sense possibly a little bit more, but it's who's going to be across the line. Is it going to be Baxter in second place? Yes, the green Baxter Alta just behind that black ERA, and the car in third place is the silver ERA just behind David Morris, who's half a second down. There they go, wonderful rear view shot through. Oh, now sudden adjustment of line there for the Alta in second place. I think he was being a little bit cautious. Certainly had to come off the power when he wanted to be sliding through the corner. Talking sliding, there's Peter Greenfield showing us the sponsors' logos on the side of the car. Don't worry, not sponsors here. Oh, nice rooster tail there.
Gets back onto the circuit, and that was a few moments ago. I don't think the Maserati was too impressed with the way that he rejoined. There was a shake of the head. These very, very expensive old machines. As we go back to our race leader, it's a little bit close for comfort.
Well, it was going into lap, and Mark Gillies was going towards the outside, and suddenly the Ligo Talbot of Volker Hickert went towards him as well. So there you are, sitting on a lead of just under 3 seconds. You don't want to throw it away. Thank you very much, I think, was the message from Mark Gillies there. But anyhow, they sorted all of that.
Wasn't it?
Yes, adieu. So off goes Mark Gillies, 2.8 seconds clear, and the first part of his lap hasn't been so good for Baxter in second place, but we saw that moment at Madgwick where Baxter in the Alta, the number 61, the dark green car, had to come off where he wanted to be carrying momentum as he went past back markers. I thought he was going to lose second place, but David Morris couldn't quite capitalise, and the clock keeps counting down. Just over 2 minutes remain, so it'll be one further lap and an extra one after that. 2 more laps to go for Mark Gillies. Lapping at the moment about 1 minute 39. The start of the race, the first flight lap, he did 1 minute 32.8, but definitely oil is down on the racing circuit.
Mark Gillies continuing to take his ERA from 1931 to, he will hope, the Goodwood Trophy and the success that comes with it as well. We've seen plenty of great driving from Baxter in second place in the green Alta. Going through your picture now, car 61.
They say lightning doesn't strike twice, but it did on consecutive laps for Ian Baxter there in the Alta. He found 2 cars, both times going into Madgwick, and again had to go, do I go between them, around the outside, up the inside? It's a little bit of guesswork, but each time David Morris in the number 9 ERA, the silver one, we can see the rear shot there going to St Mary's, also had to play the guessing game, but it's been fairly even Stevens between them, but neither has found an advantage, and neither has been able to close on our race leader. Yeah, a third of a second was gained by Baxter on Gillies, but Gillies will be looking in those small mirrors on the side and just noticing he's got enough. But it's a question of where the traffic is going to be sitting across his nose on that green ERA, car number 3, the R3A. But Mark Gillies, I think, has got enough in hand to keep this one under control.
Inside a minute to go. Mark Gillies is making his way to Woodcote Corner now. Having gone down the Levant straight through the kink, and then he's making his way through the chicane for his final tour of the circuit. There we are, there's the lime green ERA, there's the outer, and then coming through David Morris, who started fourth on the grid, also in an ERA, the silver one, that will take third place if he can complete the final 2.3 miles.
So you really feel for Rob Hall, who was right in the mix, in the lead, out of the lead, but nursing that BRM all the time, the V16. A shame to lose the noise, because it's the most astonishing sound. But Mark Gillies eventually worked his way clear, but it really did seesaw between them for several laps. And fabulous, fabulous racing. But these drivers, they will have earned their rest. You can see, even on the straights, they hardly can keep in a straight line, because trying to get the power down, the supercharge kicking in, and Mark Gillies in the super slow-mo, large steering wheel. Just a little adjustment. Even I liked his little right index finger tapping the steering wheel there. He's relaxed.
As relaxed as you can be behind the wheel of an ERA. And excellent to see he's driving today in a car from 1931, car number 3. Still having to work hard to confirm the victory. Started this lap with a 3.4 second advantage. And on a glorious day at Goodwood, he's having some fun with it now as he acknowledges the car out of his path. He's very nearly home for the checkered flag.
Through the Lavant kick, what I love there, the foot was still planted, and to position the car, just as the moving of the steering wheel, kicking the tail out a little bit, but the foot planted, so down the Lavant straight to Woodkirk for the final time. Mark has had many a win here, and for people seeing these cars racing for the first time, to see how much sideways is involved. Sideways in many racing cars means you've just wrecked your lap, but here it just has doubled the fun for people watching. But look how much closer Ian Baxter has gone. Suddenly, if there's a missed gear change, we'll have a change for the lead, and Ian Baxter fancies it.
Over the line, side by side, the two cars, it's going to be incredibly close. It's Baxter on the line by 1/10 of a second. What just happened? The outer steals it on the line, and Baxter wins the Goodwood Trophy.
Well, I'd have to throw my script in the bin. It was comfortable win there for Mark Gillies. 3.5 seconds clear at the start of the final lap. A little bit of traffic we didn't see in shot. There was a slight blocking going out of the second Lavant, so loss of momentum there. But talk about never say die. Ian Baxter, my hat, even on a warm day, well and truly doffed to you. What a fantastic run for the Alta.